Gosh, did I get it right the first try? No, I couldn't have. Kitty, can you believe it? Yeah, me neither can I. On the first try, it actually worked. I got it the right way. Uh, hey, Kitty, thanks for finding us a beautiful spot. And oh, look at gorgeous, just shining off your hood. Mmm. Oh, hi, beautiful. Oh, anyway, thank you for finding us a beautiful spot. Anyway, we're going to go do this live stream now, and we'll talk to you later, okay? All right, I'm going to wait for people to get in here and see what happens. Oh, well, now, that was unexpected. No, that's not what I want. Yeah. I guess the Starlink is still kind of stabilizing. I apologize for that. We will hopefully stabilize as things progress. This was supposed to be a standalone video, but because of all the events yesterday, I thought it was kind of appropriate to have as a video for my reflection on the situation. Anyway, so this is what I got to go through. It's actually quite extensive. This is my script that I'm going to go through, and then we will apply what we learn to, let's just get that set up over here so you can have a beautiful view. There we go. I'll just put me in the corner there, and let's get myself set up here. Feels awkward wearing a hat indoors. I never wear my hat in my house. I just got to get my couple more little things set up here. Live chat. Pop out. Cute. And then I want this. But I want to do this. Maybe even a little more. There we go. Hi, Rooster. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. I don't recognize the name, but hey, welcome. Hopefully, I can enlighten you, or make you think differently. That's all my goal is. It's not to give you what to think. It's make you think differently. You may have been around for a while, but I'm not sure. Just let me know if it buffers again. Oh, it's back on top chat. I want live chat. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, whatever. We'll just leave that alone. All right. I'm going to start into my script because it's super long. First thing I've got to say is there's a lot of talk about, how bad our prime minister and our government has failed in these negotiations with Trump. You guys are all watching the same talking points rehashed from every streamer everywhere, and I'm not interested in rehashing stuff. So that's not what this is about. I am a realist. I live in a real world, and whatever the situation is, I need to deal with that situation, and that's where I am going to approach this from. as of yesterday, Canada now has 35% tariffs on everything that's not in CUSMA, which is kind of irrelevant because CUSMA is being negotiated again next year by the same people that just failed to negotiate these trade deals. So let's be realistic here. How good is CUSMA going to become? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's start being realistic here and start having real conversations about the direction Canada is on and where we should go. This whole speech was intended for me not to yeah, I didn't intend on repeating that. Yeah, I believe sort of the same. But this whole speech was an exercise I do on a regular basis. Well, regular is relative. Every now and again, I should say. Every now and again, I like to do this exercise because, well, let's just get into it. It says right here, every now and again, I try to interrogate my own beliefs, not to feel smarter, but to make sure I'm not coasting on assumptions. This time, the question was simple, but final. If a country has to choose between nationalism and post-nationalism, which road should it take? I wasn't looking for which one feels better. I wanted to know which one actually works, whether Canada can survive the answer. Let's define the roads clearly, because one of them is the path Canada is already on. So, road one, nationalism, shared identity, prioritize citizenship, cultural continuity. Wow, every time I've read this, I've had the same problem on the same word. Sorry. Shared identity, prioritize citizenship, cultural continuity. I should never have used that word. It sounds good though, doesn't it? Sovereignty and protection, national interest over global alignment. Post-national, open borders, fluid identity, global citizenship ideals, DEI over glorify, external governance input, culture is optional, not binding. This isn't about nostalgia, it's about which model actually produces a functional, stable society over time. Let's look at post-national first, as it's not just theory, it's the road Canada's already on. Good afternoon, Ronald. Definition. Post-nationalism is the idea of a nation state's values does not come from a shared heritage, culture, ethnicity, but from the ability to support a population governed by universal values like inclusion, human rights, and cooperation. A post-national country welcomes cultural pluralism without forcing full assimilation. Frames diversity as an asset, not a threat. Adopts global goals and standards, not just as national ones. We see citizenship more as access to systems and values, not shared ancestry or tradition. Encourages free movement of people, ideas, and capital, assuming good faith and mutual benefit. Potential strengths. May allow for peaceful coexistence in a multicultural world, can avoid historical abuses often tied to ethnical or racial nationalism, encourage population to judge each other by values and behavior, not origin. Aligns domestic policy with international norms, climate, human rights, anti-corruption. May be attractive to mobile populations, students, workers, investors, refugees. Frames identity around moral aspiration, not geography. It's a system that tries to make virtue into architecture. In theory, it treats every person equally, not just in law, but in story. Where it faces criticism, friction, cohesion becomes optional. Without shared language, ritual, or history, people may live near each other, but not together. It assumes that the systems can replace belonging, that values alone are enough to bind people. In times of crisis, it may be unclear who or what people are fighting for. It relies heavily on bureaucratic trust, believing that fairness can be designed from the top down. May unintentionally reward ideological alignment over practical contribution and integration. Post-nationalism isn't betrayal of a country, it's the redefinition. It says the nation doesn't matter, the people and values do. The question is whether that's enough to sustain a country through pressure. Now let's walk the other road, the one Canada mostly left behind. And I'll admit my own personal bias, but as you can see, I am really trying to make this as unbiased as possible assessment of both sides of the road here. Nationalism, definition. Nationalism is the belief that a country's strength, survival, and moral legitimacy come from its shared identity, built on common history, language, values, and often territory or blood. A nationalist country encourages assimilation into a dominant national culture, promotes a strong border, and defines citizenship, not just legal, but emotional. Frames national stories and traditions as vital to unity, prioritizes its own interests, population, and culture over global obligations, believes that duty to country is a source of pride and responsibility. Potential strengths, creates deep loyalty and cohesion even across social or economic divides, can mobilize citizens in a crisis based on shared identity and sacrifice, respects legacy, seeing the past not as a shame to erase, but a foundation to build on, preserves cultural and linguistic uniqueness instead of dissolving into global norms. Easier to define who belongs and who decides, fewer gray zones of accountability. Nationalism isn't about waving a Nationalism isn't about waving a flag. It's about knowing where you stand, who you are, and what you're willing to defend. Where it faces friction, into authoritarianism or xenophobia, if not grounded in principle. Risks of becoming rigid, resisting the needed reforms and international cooperation. Can clash with global systems, making trade, diplomacy, and migration more difficult. Nationalism works best when people want to be part of the story, but if that story stops adapting, people may stop reading it. So I ask again, if a country has to choose between nationalism and post-nationalism, which road should it take? Not just Canada, but any country. We'll evaluate both nationalism and post-nationalism across 5 real world criteria. Oh my God, I can't read worth a crap. I need more coffee. I didn't bring coffee. All I brought was water. At the end of this, we'll have a discussion about where Canada is, what everything that's going on and everything, but I want to get through this as quickly as I can here. So we'll evaluate both nationalism and post. 1, cohesion. Does the system create a shared identity and stability? 2, governance. Does it clarify authority and representation? 3, adaptability. Can it evolve without losing its core? 4, resilience. Can it survive stress, economic, social, cultural? And 5, moral clarity. Does it help citizens understand right from wrong? Those are the 5 criteria we're going to go down. Cohesion. I have 2 check marks and 2 cautions. Post-nationalism, 2 check marks, 1 caution. Oh, sorry, I got it backwards. Nationalism has 2 check marks, 2 cautions. Post-national has 2 check marks, 1 caution. Okay, cohesion. Built for cohesion. It names a people, cultural, history, and future. Create us with common rituals, stories, and duties. Us. High cohesion can become brittle. Dissent equals betrayal. Post-nationalism redefines us as flexible, inclusive, anyone can belong. Avoids ethnic and cultural dominance. Lacks a single unifying story. Cohesion must come from systems, not sentiment. Oh, there were 2 cautions on this. Sorry, it was on the next page. Differences are tolerated, but shared identity is minimal, leading to shallow roots. The verdict? Nationalism is stronger internal cohesion, but risks division, sacrifices unity. Let's check number 2. Governance. Nationalism ties legitimacy to population, if outsiders, or ignoring global obligations. Risks populist manipulations, real Canadians versus traitors. Post-nationalist focuses on systems over identity, rights-based governance, emphasizes universal human values, minority protection. Diffuses accountability, harder to find who the government is truly accountable to. Power can be concentrated into unelected bodies, courts, agencies, global organizations. Verdict? Nationalism strengthens democratic accountability to a known group. Post-nationalism safeguards minority rights, but can create elite detachment. And we know that all too well in Canada. Criteria 3, adaptability. Nationalism can evolve, but tends to move more slowly. Cultural shifts happen, but only with broad support. Resist rapid change, especially if seen as foreign influenced. Hard to incorporate new groups without tension. Post-nationalists built for change, welcomes diversity, innovation, flux, can rapidly absorb outside ideas or technology, risks instability. If everything is negotiable, nothing is sacred. Public may feel unmoored. What are we preserving? Verdict: post-nationalism is more agile but unstable. Nationalism prioritizes continuity. There's that damn word again. But may lag in adaptation. Resilience under stress. Section 4. Nationalism, strong during a crisis. People rally around shared identity. Sacrifice becomes meaningful for our nation. May turn hostile towards scapegoats or internal critics. Unity can break along racial, religion, and linguistic lines if not well managed. Post-nationalism, more flexible during external shocks, can import talent and ideas. Promotes tolerance in theory. In real crisis, loose identity equals low solidarity. May lack shared moral framework to take responsibility. To respond quickly. Oops, my bad. I'm adding my own bias. That was perfect example of my own bias jumping in there. And I apologize for that. I'm trying to, and when I wrote this out, I went through this crazy to remove my bias as much as possible. So let me say that last line again, because I don't want my own bias influencing this. May lack shared moral framework to respond quickly. That's what it said. My apologies for that. Because this isn't about me. This is about Canada. What road should Canada be on? We're currently on one road. Should we maybe have gone back to the other road? Anyway, verdict: nationalism is more emotionally resilient in crisis, but dangerous if weaponized. Post-nationalism is flexible, but emotionally hollow under stress. Moral clarity. Number 5. Nationalism offers strong guidance, duty, loyalty, honor, sacrifice. Grounds morality in history and culture. Risks tribalism. Right is what benefits the nation. May ignore broader human rights in the name of national interest. Post-nationalism, universal morality, equality, inclusion, rights. Promotes empathy across differences. Relativistic. What a fancy word, eh? I like that word. Relativistic. Moral standards change based on social trends. No rooted narrative. Ethics may feel procedural, not principled. Verdict: nationalism provides clearer, emotionally rooted moral frameworks. Post-nationalism emphasis on fairness, but struggles to inspire sacrifice or shared responsibility. I think that's where I got that from in the previous thing, was I was thinking of this answer. Let's pressure both systems using a major destabilizing event. We'll measure the responses, not by ideals, but real-world performance under fire. The scenario: mass immigration and economic downturn. How relative is it to today in Canada? Come on, tell me. Come on, is that not the perfect scenario to test both these both these roads. I want to see somebody comment. I don't care who. Nobody watches my videos. I've been babbling too long. That's what it is. Anyway, I'm going to carry on. Scenario: mass immigration and economic downturn. So we'll set the stage. Canada enters a deep recession, double-digit unemployment, global instability. Global instability sends 1 million plus migrants towards Canada in under a year. Infrastructure strained, housing crisis worsens, cultural clashes rise, citizens polarized, federal government must respond. Hey, Black Sheep. Hey, D. Oh, you guys are going to be so confused on what I'm doing. Both of you. Oh, no. Oh, God, you're going to have to watch the beginning of this. Because I'm like halfway, well, a little better than halfway through my script here. Sorry. Yeah. We are what I'm basically doing is removing my bias and having an actual head-to-head confrontation of nationalism versus post-nationalism and which road should Canada be on, or any country for that matter. But Canada is my priority, so I'm basing this on Canada. And we've already defined what each category nationalism is, its strengths and weaknesses, what post-nationalism is by definition, its strengths and weaknesses are, and now we're doing a stress test. We did a 5-point test on which one does better. Now we're doing a real world scenario and putting them head to head on which way we should deal with this scenario. So just to go over, the scenario is migration and economic downturn. The stage is Canada enters a deep recession, global instability sends 1 million plus. Wow. Take that, you little beehole. I can't say that word. Stephanie, wow. Thank you, my girl. Holy Mac. Holy Steph. I haven't even got to what this is all about. Wow. I appreciate that, girl. Thank you very much. That's holy Mac. Well, where was I? Infrastructure strained, housing crisis worsens, cultural clash rises. Citizens polarized, federal government must respond. That's basically where Canada is today. Literally today. As of yesterday, especially, we are even in a worse condition. So this crisis is real world comparison, okay? So let's put nationalism under stress. Initial response. Quick political alignment around national interest. Mass public pressure for resource prioritization to citizens. Calls for immigration pause. Economic self-focus. Sorry, but that was all one thing and I broke it up. Calls for immigration pause. Economic self-focus. And Stephanie, you have me so befuddled right now. Like, well, I couldn't speak. I couldn't read before, but still, I'm even worse now. Institutional handling. Easier to define who the system is for. Policies may prioritize Canadians by birth or tenure. May lead to populist scapegoating, refugees, elites, media. Public cohesion, strong rally power around Protect Canada. High potential for unrest if perceived outsiders receive benefits. Hey, a lot of practice being a bear hugger. Long-term risks. Social fracture if nationalism hardens into exclusion or racism. Loss of global standing for perceived cruelty. Post-nationalism under stress. Initial response, policy lens focuses on rights, fairness, humanitarian obligations. Maintains immigration intake guided by global duty. Institutional handling, no clear priority group. All are equal, but some are louder. Resource strain worsens, bureaucratic paralysis likely. Public cohesion, citizens feel abandoned. Why are newcomers housed while I'm evicted? Trusting government plummets as native population feels ignored. Long-term risk, rise of extremism from resentment. Institutional backlash, public domain, return to national model. I'm going to be jumping back in Bunkie very soon. All right, I'm going to show you this direct comparison graph I have made up here. So let's see if we can do this here. And then I'll read it. All right. Stress test results. Systems, short-term order, long-term stability, public trust, moral perceptions. Nationalism, stronger. Post-nationalism, weaker in short-term order. Long-term stability, nationalism, conditional, if fair. Fragile, under pressure for post-nationalism. Public trust, nationalism, high but brittle. Post-nationalism erodes quickly. Moral perception, nationalism, moral for citizen, cruel to others. Post-nationalism, morally pure, but impractical. Just make sure I got that angle right there so you can still see me. There we go. So, conclusion in a crisis. One system holds better. From the results-based views. Wow. Oh my goodness. Steph, what are you doing, girl? Holy mackerel. What are you doing, girl? Holy mac. You know, a lot of my subscribers are very old and don't watch my channel anymore. You got to be careful when you do stuff like that. Thank you so much, Steph. I appreciate that. You're truly amazing, girl. I do miss you. I miss sitting on the back porch with the squirrels. Conclusion. In crisis, one system holds better. From the results-based view, nationalism performs better under real-world pressure. It clarifies decision-making authority, rallies emotional unity, prioritizes the governed group, responds to public demand quickly. Post-nationalism, in clarity, peace, and loyalty. In good times, its values sound noble, but crisis exposes the need for rooted identity and rankable obligations. If both roads claim to be good, which one actually protects the people I care about when it matters most? Let's apply that key question to a moral person must face under stress. Who should a government serve first in a crisis? Post-nationalists? All humans equally. Sounds fair. But if you're homeless and your tax dollars fund shelters for newcomer before you, does that feel like fairness or betrayal? Nationalism says, serve your citizens first or you serve no one. May deny aid to some in need, but it preserves the trust in the system as something for its own people. Moral crossroad. Is it more righteous to be universally kind but locally blind, or locally loyal even if imperfect globally? You had to sniff out the lurkers. Oh, that's right. You did this to me before too. You tried to sniff me out. And it didn't work because I had it shut off. I appreciate you, girl. You're amazing. Question 2. Who is accountable when post-nationalism fails? This one's a little biased, but I thought, it's kind of a relative question. Under nationalism, the government failed its people, clear blame, clear remedy. Under post-nationalism, systems are complex. We did our best for everyone. Blame is blurred. No one answers. Moral crossroad. If no one can be held responsible, can any choice be truly moral? Question 3. Stop! Stop! Holy man! You're derailing me, girl. I love you and I appreciate you, but oh my God. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you so much. Question 3. Which system demands more of you morally? Post-nationalism asks you to sacrifice personal interest for strangers, abandon tribal loyalty in favor of abstract ideals, apologize for inherent identity. Nationalism asks you to protect what's yours, stand guard at the cultural gate, accept hard choices, even if unpopular globally. Moral crossroads. Which weight is more just? The burden of defense or the burden of surrender? Now, this was my moral compass reading. Your duty is upward, not outward. If you are a moral actor inside a nation, and that nation breaks, you cannot save the world. You can't even save your neighbor. To extend compassion globally, you must first secure the house you're standing in. So where does that leave us? I didn't come here to win an argument. I came here to test my own compass. And here's what I found. It's not that post-nationalists are evil. In fact, they are driven by a very real desire to create a kinder, fairer world. But good intentions aren't enough to hold a country together. When the storm hits, ideals don't carry sandbags. Neighbors do. And if you forget who our neighbors are, if we forget our duty to each other, then no slogan, no policy, no global virtue can save us. That doesn't mean there's no place for compassion across the borders, but that compassion has to grow from strong roots, not poured on from above. So if you believe in post-nationalism, I won't ask you to surrender it. I'll just ask, what happens if you're wrong? And would the people around you survive that mistake? Because maybe the test of a good idea isn't whether it sounds nice, but whether it holds when everything else falls apart. And that's where we got to Canada. That's where we get to today. It's the end of my little script. As I said, this was supposed to be an independent video of its own. But after yesterday's events, where we ended up with 35% tariffs on non-CUSMA goods, and we look at the direction our country is going because the political leadership and ideology they are currently holding puts us in a position where we are the most vulnerable we have ever been. Now they're talking a big game about, oh, we're going to be our best customer now and all this jazz, but it's all feel-good virtues are what cost us a trade deal with our closest ally. So post-nationalism is crumbling around Canada, and Canada is in a real world crisis right now. And the person we elected to be our prime minister was supposed to be the person you call in a crisis. Well, the crisis you brought on is worse than the crisis you were brought in to fix. And it doesn't have an easy out right now. Your goal is to spend $500 billion to generate what exactly? There is no actual accountability to that. We keep discovering these virtue ideals. We find flaws and corruption within them, but no accountability. Yet you claim to speak for all Canadians when you stand at a podium. But Canadians elected you because you're the guy to deal with a crisis. And now that crisis is worse than it was when we elected you. Because of your ideology. Because you keep putting window dressing on the nightmare that's outside our window and thinking we won't be able to look out there. Canada's in a real tough spot. And let's be realistic here. Let's have a realistic conversation, an adult conversation, not an ideals conversation, a real conversation about the direction Canada is heading, the direction Canada is on. The road we have chosen for ourselves is not helping this country. We are destroying this country by being virtuous in every aspect of it. Unity, security, economically, identity. What's the point of calling us Canada? We're not Canada. We're some sort of state. at this point. You sign off um, the words. Crisis management policies to an international organization, not Canadians' priorities, and international organizations' priorities dictate what Canada's healthcare policies will be. What the hell's that got to do with Canada? You want to build Canada as the greatest economy on earth and the G7. Great, sounds fantastic. Why are we buying ships in China for billions of dollars while you're crying about Canadian steel and aluminum here in Canada and jobs being lost because you failed to fix the crisis? You made the crisis worse, and you're still shipping $1 billion to a government that does not see us as an equal. A country that does not believe in your virtues. Canada's doomed under your virtues. It's all fine and wonderful. And you know what? I feel sorry for anyone that suffers anywhere. This is true. But until I can fix my own home, I can't do nothing about that. Nor can Canada. So all the virtues in the world is not going to save this country. It is not going to make us prosperous. It's not going to make us better. The only thing that's going to save Canada right now is we need to go back to a World War II mindset. And that means if you're going to spend $500 billion to build our economy, that means you're building factories. That means you are producing goods. That means you're cutting off trade. That means you are internalizing Canada. You are going to make Canada, that $500 billion needs to go straight into Canada. If you're going to spend $1 outside of this country in the condition it's in today, let alone what it's going to be next year when Kuzma comes up, if you're going to spend $1 outside of this country, you better have $2 coming back in from outside of the country. Not generating $2 more here in Canada. You need to generate $2 of foreign money into Canada in order to spend $1 out. Because until Canada chooses its own economy first, its own people first, its own country first, all you're doing is destroying this country, taking everybody's money, making people slave labor so that they can afford the tax system to fund other countries. Where is the virtue in that? You are literally turning Canadians, taxpayers, into slaves. It came out, a couple weeks ago. Canadians are spending over 40% of their income in taxes. For what? I don't care how virtuous this is. It doesn't matter. Canada is falling. Look at the country you are trying to get that tax revenue from. Canadians can't afford to keep doing this. I don't care how virtuous it is. At some point, you have to say, sorry, I'd love to help, but I can't. And that's where Canada is today, especially after yesterday. You think you're going to create trade deals around the world? Jasmine Lane said it best yesterday. All these other countries you want to create trade deals, you're going to diversify our trade to? They already have long-term contracts with other nations that don't have our regulatory barriers or our red tape and the nonsense it takes to get our stuff to them. They don't have to deal with that. And you think and they claim, David Eby out there saying, oh, well, they'll choose Canadian LNG over American LNG because we're the good guys and they don't like Trump. But yet they signed, what was it, $500 billion investment into the US from South Korea, the place you were proud we were shipping our first shipment of LNG to. They're not choosing morality, they're choosing value. And Canada is offering no value. So the only way we're going to develop value is when we give it to ourselves first. Because you're not going to sign a new contract anywhere else who has a long-term contract with a better outcome for them, an easier outcome for them. They don't need the headaches of what Canada is offering them. You say you're going to impose a carbon tax on imports from countries that don't have a carbon tax. Then why would they import to us? They just go, you know what? There's enough other countries and a lot bigger economies than Canada that don't do this to us. Cut them off. This is ridiculous. How does Canada survive? Let's be realistic. How does Canada survive in this environment? You've created an environment where I just don't see it. Maybe there's something I don't see. I don't know everything. That's why I talk to you. I give you the information I have, not to give you an opinion, but for you to actually start asking the right questions. Start questioning everything. I'm not here to give you the answers. I'm here to make you look for them for yourself. So, to my government, I ask you, where is the outcome here? Unless you start showing Canadians where the outcome is, I can pretty much guarantee this country is doomed. You think Mexico's in a bad place? Canada, as of yesterday, will now see an approximately, by my estimation, approximately 40-year downfall. We're going to detract back to where we were 40 years ago, at least, if not further. Our standard of living is going to detract that far. Yes, we'll have modern technology, laptops, cell phones, all that jazz. But it'll still be the quality of life from 40 years ago. These big fancy dinners people go to every now and again, date night or whatever. Well, date night's only going to be home dinners. That means less restaurants. That means less high-end stores. It means less high-end goods. It means, we slowly detract it all the way back till we end up in the Depression. How far back does Canada need to roll back before you realize your virtues are crushing this country? Again, this isn't about my opinion. Yes, I have my own bias. And yes, I've always been a nationalist idealist. I can see where post-nationalism actually has its benefits. And I don't see why we can't apply those benefits in the framework. There's absolutely no reason for it. But if we're going to make Canada number one, and make Canada our number one, put that topic right on the head. And I know people are going to hate on me for it, but I don't care. This whole sovereignty, nation within a nation nonsense. Gotta stop that. All that does is create tribes in our own nation, create separation, division. If we're gonna save this country, we need to unite together. One nation. That's it. Without one nation, it don't matter. You must just throw everything out. Divide the country up into provinces and then cut the native sections out of those provinces. So now we have, 75,000 different nations in what was once called Canada. That's all we got left at this point. With all this virtuing, that's where we're going. There is no option otherwise. You can't keep this unity nonsense floating as an idea where it doesn't exist. Sorry, there's been a bunch of chats. I got on my little rant there. I'm sorry. Let's see what we got here. I would change everything drastically. You wouldn't recognize Canada from what it is. What? From what it was 10 years ago. It would be a country that is so wealthy, everyone would be envious of our achievements. And that's where we need to get to. The government buys them, put them up for sale. And you tell your foreign investors, you can buy a factory in Canada. Why not? Bring that foreign money in and buy that factory. You still got to charge your profit margin, though, so that you can ease the burden on the taxes on Canadians. Do it. Why not? So now you turn around to Toyota with a profit margin. Bring that foreign money into Canada. That's how you do it. Stop this pissanting around. Stop putting it into globalist companies for studies and evaluation studies. No, screw that. Just get your damn shovel in the ground, build a goddamn factory. Sorry, YouTube. Get the money back here. Under the current system, I agree with you, Dustin. I said it during my CPC way back, what was that, in February, March, somewhere in there. Anyway, I said, start producing 3D printing companies. Build them. Go for it. Replace the Chinese dollar store with Canadian dollar store. We produce our oil right here in Alberta. Let's take that oil and start doing stuff with it. Stop selling the raw goods. Start selling the finished goods. Become the store, not the wholesaler. The retailer. Every Canadian is going out to the dollar store right now to buy Chinese goods. How does that benefit Canada? It doesn't. Sends all that money over to China. Oh yeah, there's a worker there a Canadian worker that's getting a wage. Yeah, there's some taxes collected. But the profit range, that all goes out the door. No. Get that money right here. Get that money back in here. Enough of this. We've seen what happens when we have trade deals that don't work. You've literally created a worse situation for Canada with our number one ideologically aligned country in the world that we hold the most trade of every country in the world with. You made our trade deal worse because of your ideology. It's time to flip the script It's time to stop with the ideology, feel good feelings, virtue signaling, and it's time to put this nation on its feet. Because currently we are on our ass and we're getting our head kicked in. Enough is enough. It ain't going to be long before you're going to start having to cancel social programs because you can't afford it. Because there are too many Canadians going to be needing those social programs. So what do you tell them? Oh, well, you know, we sent aid to Gaza, so we can't afford to help you? What? So basically, they've worked their entire life paying their taxes. They get to a bad situation in their life. They've paid taxes into a system that is designed to catch them if they run into that bad situation. And you tell them you ain't got enough money because you sent it somewhere else. That's where we are. I don't know. I'm just a nationalist extremist. Well, Trudeau called me an extremist, whatever. Actually, a lot of trolls do too. Oh, it's possible. I'm really sorry if it's been buffering. How many times have people noticed it buffering? Just curious. Oh no. I hope it isn't completely. Well, 5 times. Oh, dang. Is my message still clear enough, or do I need to redo anything? I know you guys are about 30 seconds behind or something like that. Dang. It's because the satellite dish is right there and there's a tree kind of off to its side. I thought I had it well clear of that tree. It mustn't be clear enough. Okay, well, I'm just anyway, today's Saturday. I want to address something for yeah, I'm actually going to address that conversation that you're attempting to start right there. I made a video earlier this week and explaining some things out on changes that are going to be coming and yada yada yada. Because I was doing it in a tone and explaining my reasoning for what I'm going to do, I think people misunderstood a lot of the context of what I was talking about. I will be leaving here within the next week because I can't afford to live here. And I probably should have said this in a better tone because I said it more in a melodrama. I was just like, oh, I can't afford to live here, da 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 da. And I went into explanations of why. But anyway, this is not a bad thing, nor is it an unanticipated thing. It's a reality of, you know, I live in a real world. But the intention behind this, and a lot of people are saying, well, you know, you should give up the YouTube thing. Yeah, but the YouTube thing gives me motivation to get up and do something every day. And I don't want to give that up because that gives me the motivation to actually stay engaged, stay doing things, discover new things, be excited about life, live, not exist. That's why I do YouTube. I'm living, and I try and share that with people, and that's why I do YouTube. So the goal is to put Bunky back on Kitty and get back out on the road. because it'll give me easier access to internet, less expense for internet because I'm paying for internet on my phone and I'm paying for internet on my satellite here. In total, that comes to over $300 a month. A little expensive, so I'm going to drop the satellite. That'll drop 200 and change off of that. So I end up with just the phone, and I'm just using one source of internet now at this point. I can't use the phone here because there's no cell service here. Also, living here, the expense of driving to town and back is high, where when I'm on the road, I go camp somewhere, I go to the next camp, and on the way to camp, I go grocery shopping, and it's not an extra expense. It's just something I do along en route. And that's why we're going to go back to doing that. I need to live within my own budget. My budget, I am still going to maintain my address here, but I'm going to live out there where I'm happiest. Discovering this beautiful, beautiful land we call Canada. I actually love this country. I love everything about it. I don't want to be contained into one location. I'm missing so much. You're missing so much. Let's go find these remote places and these random things, discover how to do things. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I don't know how to paint. Let's paint a picture. It's this kind of thing. Living life. This is what it's all about. Yes, I have my political video views. And yes, this channel was built off politics. But like I said, it'll be easy identified whether it's a political video or it's a lifestyles video. Lifestyle videos will have a red border around them. I forgot to put the red border on this one, but it was very clear. My live streams are red bordered, and any other political videos, political themed videos will have a red border around them. You usually can tell by the title as well, whether it's a political one or not. But as a rule of thumb, if it's got a blue border, it's about my lifestyle videos. If it's got a red border, it's political. And moving forward, I don't know how to read these things. People do this all the time, and I never use these emoji things, so I don't know how to read them properly. I know they use them for words, and it just doesn't, my brain don't click like that. See, what I'm reading is heart is still a thing in square maple leaf, square dot, 4 square, well, Canada. Okay, that's Canadian flag. So yeah, this is where my brain just does not compute it properly. So anyway, live streams will probably are coming to an end. I'm not going to say probably, are coming to an end. This will be the last live stream because I'll be going onto my phone, which actually has a limit on the amount of data I can use. It's 150 gigabytes a month, but I use that up making videos. I usually use approximately 130 to 145 gigabytes a month just doing videos. There will be periods where probably the first week when I get out onto the road, there probably won't be any videos. And the reason for that is I'll be in a location that won't have internet. Doesn't mean I won't be creating videos, but it'll be back to I will get ahead of videos. So after that, then I'll be like a week ahead, and those videos will be released all in one big clump to members, and then they'll slowly trickle out over the following week where I'll be at a new location or whatever it is. And that's how we're going to go back to what I was doing. We're going to explore this country. We're going to discover it. It'll also give me access to, you know, dealing right now. I can't even receive a phone call from healthcare or anything to get my healthcare. I can't make a phone call to get my healthcare dealt with. All I can do is internet. So it'll give me access to being able to make phone calls I need to make and everything like that. This was not, that video was not boo-hoo, that wasn't what that video was about. That video was about explaining my rationality to why I'm not going to be staying here. I'm still going to technically live here because I'll still pay rent here and I'll still have a place here. I already worked this out with the owner. Everything is still stable. It's just I'm going to live out there. It's what I love to do. Go find new places, new adventures. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That video actually had been in the works for weeks. Weeks. We've been trying to get that video done. That was of scheduling conflicts, video clip conflicts, just a lot of different things were not lining up, and it was really difficult to get that video made. And I was so happy to put it finally together. There are a few other videos that I'm actually having a lot of problems getting aligned as well, and I'm working through them and trying to get them wrapped up before I leave here. And so that's kind of why things have been a little chaotic. Is kind of, I keep trying to shoot certain videos and I'm running into a lot of technical issues, framing issues, audio issues, just issues. You know, hey, it is what it is, you know? So I'm trying to resolve all those and trying to get myself systems that I can use when I get back out on the road to actually make better quality videos. The goal is to make this channel better, not stagnant. And working in the field became stagnant. And I know that. I see it. I was tired of shooting the videos. I can imagine creating scripts. As you can see, I've been rewriting scripts for myself. So this way, when it comes time to try and explain a full thought process, I try to have a script ahead of me. So this way, I'm not babbling like I'm doing right now, as you tell, obviously. Exactly. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I keep testing things, and yes, I see sometimes my tests you guys don't like. And I see it. I'm watching for it. I'm looking for it. I'm trying to see what's appealing to you. We all know I'm politically motivated, but I also am, number one, Canada motivated. I'm Canada motivated over everything else. No matter what it is. It's the whole reason I joined the convoy. My country comes before anything about me. I'm not the story. My country is. So yeah, that was why that whole spiel, I wanted to break it down in such a way that I did not put my own bias in there. I wanted to weigh everything equally. Nationalism versus post-nationalism, because I'm pro-nationalism 100%. There's no ifs, ands, buts about that. But Canada's on a post-nationalist agenda, and I wanted to see, is my bias influencing my perspective? And I just don't see it. There's no way this ideology and this direction is any way beneficial to this country at this point in time. There is no way. It's aspirational, but that's all it is. Anyway, guys, I think the road has been a lot of fun. We had a lot of interesting times. The bear and her cub coming out 20 feet away from me, right across the freaking road from me. That was a heart attack and a half. Is this Dominion Day weekend? No way, really? Is it really? No. Can't be. No, that's July 1st. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's Canada Day. Okay. Yeah, that freaked me out. I was like, what? What? The civic holiday. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Okay. I didn't think it was Dominion Day. Anyway, folks, I appreciate all of yous. Stephanie, my girl, you've been so amazing. And someday I am going to see that cottage of yours. We are going to go to that cottage and have a good time up there one day. Yeah, you had me freaked out there for a minute. I always thought Dominion Day was Canada Day, but I thought, oh, but it's named different. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on a minute. And I know the first weekend of August is a long weekend per se. There's some sort of holiday thing in there, but I didn't know. Now that you say civic holiday, I remember it now, but yeah. Every month of the year has a holiday in it. Anyway, folks, I hope you walk away from this not with my opinion influencing you, but my opinions making you look around you. That's all it's for. Don't take my opinions as facts. That whole speech is not facts. It's just my assessment as unbiased as possible. And if those unbiased are what you're seeing, start questioning your bias. Start questioning everything. Start demanding more of our country. Start demanding better from Canada. Start demanding Canada look out for Canada. Whatever that means to you, whether that means be post-nationalist, whatever, I am not against that. I'm just saying, for the benefit of this country, we are better off if we go nationalist. And that means we need to close down them borders to everything outside. That means everything needs to go internalized. And that sucks because I feel bad for the other side of the world. When I hear those stories in Ethiopia of droughts and starvation,